Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in today. I am excited because I have acquired a new project that I want to share with you. A couple of days ago, the family and I were out cruising around the back roads near where I live, and we came upon a large plywood sign with the words yard sale spray painted on it with an arrow. Well, I'm pretty good at following directions, so we pulled in and followed the gravel driveway about a quarter of a mile back to the yard sale, and it was a multi-family showcase of various household and workshop items, and nothing really caught my fancy too much. They had an old Chevy El Camino out there, about 20 years old, maybe 25 years old. It was an old El Camino, and it looks like the birds had taken over it, and the squirrels and rats, and hadn't been registered in a long time, and they wanted almost $3,000 for it, so pass on that. They had some old clawfoot bathtubs. I have a bathtub already. They had an old Lionel train set that was an okay piece, but they wanted $500 for that or something, so I passed. And we escaped the yard sale without purchasing anything, but out of the corner of my eye, right before we left, I saw on a pallet off to the side a Honda Trail 90 motorcycle. And when I saw that motorcycle, a flood of memories, fond memories, rushed over me, because as a child I had a Honda Trail 70 motorcycle, which is kind of a similar machine, and I had a lot of fun on that in my youth. So I inquired about the motorcycle. Now, it looked like it hadn't been moved from that spot in decades. It was in pieces, it was rusty, it looked like it was pretty much part of the landscape by that time. But I still walked over and had a look at it before we shoved off, and they only wanted $100 for it. It looked to be complete, minus the rust and the deterioration of various parts. What hadn't become part of the earth again was still there. So I looked at it, and I had a lot of projects already, and I didn't really need another one. But as I said, that really brought back a lot of good feelings in me, and it's always good to have good feelings. So I was really considering it, and I thought, you know what? I have an old jet ski hull that really needs to be cut up. It's been sitting on the side of my house for a long time. I've been catching a little bit of heat from my wife about that, about getting rid of that previous project. So I told myself, okay, I will make an offer on the motorcycle, but I promise myself and the wife to get rid of the jet ski hull. Guess what? I did that. Check that out right here. And so in my mind, even though I hadn't gotten rid of the jet ski yet, I decided I was in the clear to make an offer on the motorcycle. So I looked at it, and they wanted $100 for it. And I said, how about $50? And the lady, Judy, she drove a hard bargain, and she said, no, that thing, it ran 30 years ago. How about 75? And then I knew the dance was on. We were dancing. And I said, okay, you have the paperwork, right? She said, oh yeah, we have the paperwork. It was, the original pink slip on that bike was probably etched in stone. It was so old, but she had it. And I said, let's meet in the middle. How about $60? She said, fine. Shook hands on it, and I acquired a Trail 90 motorcycle. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is my yard sale treasure. Even the untrained eye can probably deduct that this machine is not fully put together and in roadworthy condition. I inquired about this at the time of purchase, and the seller said that it started running rough, and they decided that an engine rebuild was necessary. So they started taking things apart, but then realized they were in over their heads and didn't want to mess with it. So there it's set. So this is going to be a fun summer project. Right now I want to take an inventory of what we have and kind of give you an idea of what the first step will be in bringing this motorcycle back to life. The goal for this project for me is to create a operable, roadworthy motorcycle with as little cash outlay as possible. So let's see just exactly what we're working with. Starting at the front here, one of the first things I noticed is it has an almost new front tire, although it is flat, so you win some, you lose some there. The forks are not in the greatest shape. The left-hand fork, as you can see here, is leaking a little bit of fluid, but that's okay. I'm not really worried about that. I'm not going to be going over any 100-foot motocross jumps or anything. The headlight bucket is completely cracked and probably should be replaced, but it is holding the lens right now, so I might just leave it. The carburetor looks like it fell out of a tree and a bird tried to make a nest out of it. But we'll tear into that and see what's what. One of the first things I noticed when I was looking at this motorcycle was the condition of the seat cover. Luckily for me, the seat cover is actually in pretty good shape, so that's a plus for the motorcycle. The battery was once here, now it's gone. We have a grocery rack here, which is pretty neat. It was originally chrome. Now it has a little bit of rust patina. I think it looks great. The best thing about the rear wheel is that it does spin. Who knows if the brakes work, but let's worry about going and then worry about stopping. And that's pretty much it for the chassis. Moving on to the various parts, this exhaust pipe is pretty much worthless. Time has ravaged the metal, so this is pretty much going into the scrap bin. It's rusted out right here as well, unfortunately, so I'll have to figure out a method of exhaling the exhaust gases. Here's the engine, and it's evident that someone tried to pull it apart in the past. Even though the head and cylinder are attached, they're loose. See, I don't know if you can see that, but they're just set on there. Like somebody dug into it, didn't like what they saw, and just put them back. So that's not the greatest news, but for $60, it's worth it. And here's the stator, the flywheel. This Trail 90 came factory with a 2-speed high and low range gearbox in addition to the transmission, and I hope I have all the parts to the gearbox. It's right here, and I think there are some gears that go in here. So there's the engine. Foot pegs, chain guard, skid plate and down tube, frame rail cover. Airbox designates the model of the machine that we're working with, and unfortunately it looks like something stepped on it. And aside from those parts, I just have some coffee cans full of miscellaneous items. Drive chain, cover, spark plug, springs. Oh, here's the high and low range gearbox I was talking about, and who knows if it's all there. So this should be a nice little adventure for me. And just imagine, in a week or a month or 6 months, however long it takes, I will have a running motorcycle that should get really good gas mileage and will have a bit of character as well. My plan of attack is I want to first concentrate on the engine and see if I can make it run. It's kind of the heart of the machine as far as I'm concerned, and We'll start there, see if we can get the engine in good working order, and then we'll kind of branch out from there with the rest of the machine. So we'll start tearing into the motor next time. Until then, thanks for watching.